We are live for day 7. Y'all, it is day 7 of Back to School with PBJ, and we are preparing you to have the best school opening you have ever had. And that doesn't mean there won't be challenges. That doesn't mean all the students are going to act right. That doesn't mean that all the parents are going to act right, friend. That means you are setting your intentions right now that no matter the challenge, you will not be overwhelmed or burnt out because you're going to check your baggage, you're going to build your boundaries, and you are going to discover your brilliance. So here we go, day 7. We started our conversation yesterday on checking your baggage. So make sure if you missed anything, go back because I don't want to hold you long and I don't want to keep repeating every night. So go back to day 1. Make sure you catch up to where we are. They're all 10-15 minutes apiece. But today we're going to continue checking your baggage. So keep in mind, you have an invisible backpack, and in that backpack is every experience you have had, good, bad, indifferent, ugly, it doesn't matter. It's all in that backpack, and that backpack determines how you engage with the world, how you show up to work in life. So I am going to give you a series of questions over the next few nights, and I want you to think about these questions and check your backpack through these questions. So tonight, your question is, what is your definition of work? Where did you learn it? And does it still align with who you are? Let me ask that question one more time. What is your definition of work? Where did you learn it? And does it align with who you are today? Let me tell you what I mean. So, if you've been following me for any amount of time, you know that I'm from Crocketville, South Carolina. Now, y'all, in Crocketville, there's not a whole lot of people. There's my granddaddy's farm, my mama's house, grandparents' house, and that's about it. Maybe some cousins down the road. It was the purest place. I grew up in Crocketville where you could see the rain coming across the field, where you can smell a fresh rain that was coming. I grew up with cornfields and peas and beans and okra and livestock in the backyard. I grew up where you could play outside all day and didn't have to worry about danger. That's Crocketville. It was the purest place. The purest place. Not perfect. Not perfect at all, but it was pure. In Crocketville, work was waking up before the sun and not coming home until the sun's gone down. In Crocketville, work was back-breaking, sweat-inducing work. I remember my brother and my cousins waking up early, 5 o'clock in the morning on a summer morning. Summer, out of school, summer. They would wake up early, go into the watermelon fields with my granddaddy, and they would make a line across the field and pick watermelon and toss it from one to the other person until they got it up on this big hauling truck until the truck was full. And when the truck was full, my granddaddy would take that truck on Saturday mornings to the farmers market at our state capital to sell that watermelon. I remember walking through fields of corn and peas and beans and okra with my grandma and picking the corn, shucking the corn, shelling peas and beans. Y'all ain't talking. I know it's got to be some country people out there who know what I'm talking about. In Crocketville, you were outside in the sun, bent over, stooping down, doing whatever it took to take care of family. In Crocketville, work was survival. It wasn't an option. In Crocketville, everybody did their part. I remember my stepdad, he worked shift work in security. He would go work a full shift, 8 hours, 12 hours, come home, take a nap, wake up, go in the field. That was Crocketville. My mom has owned her own hair salon for over 30 years now. And my mom, her earliest client was 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning, and she wouldn't leave the shop until way after the sun has gone down. And she would wake up the next morning and do it all over again. In Crocketville, work was survival. You did whatever you had to do to take care of the family and to make it. And y'all, I took that definition to the university setting with me. Now, let me be clear. I'm grateful for Crocketville. I thank God for where I grew up because I truly believe that it's because of that work ethic that I have enjoyed the blessing. Well, it's because of God, but He used that work ethic to bless my life and bless my family. And I believe that things that I have accomplished are because of the work ethic that I learned in Crocketville. But I also got to tell you that it almost ruined me because I was no longer in Crocketville, but I took Crocketville with me. So on a college campus, I had to be the first one at work, the first one in the parking lot. If somebody got there before me, I'd be looking around like, whose car is that? Oh, I'll get them tomorrow. I'll get them tomorrow. Because in my mind, being the first showed my dedication. I couldn't go home until everybody was gone. If somebody was still working and I was packing up to leave, I was thinking, well, what am I supposed to do? What am I doing wrong? Are they more dedicated than me? Did I miss something? I couldn't even freely go home. I went to every student. So I would show up at work 7 a.m. I wouldn't get home to 10 o'clock most nights because I worked in student affairs. Holler at me if you work in student affairs. In student affairs, we don't have work hours. We have office hours and then we have programming hours. And students don't live just 8 to 5. Okay. Most of the magic happens after 5 o'clock. That was my life for 20 years. That was my life for 20 years. And I didn't feel like I could say no. I had to say yes to every project. I had to say yes to every committee because who am I to complain? I'm sitting up in this cushy air conditioned office and my folks are still in the field in Crocketville. I didn't feel like I could say no. And it almost killed me. Burnout almost took me out of here. I told y'all burnout is a thief. Burnout will rob you of your health. It will rob you of your peace of mind. It will rob you of your family and your closest relationships. It's a thief. Burnout is a demanding thief. It comes to take and it comes to destroy. And it almost got me. In recovering from burnout, I had to recognize, although what I learned in Crocketville has served me well, that definition of work no longer aligned with my life. I grew up in Crocketville. I learned from Crocketville, but I wasn't called to Crocketville. I'm called to a different field. I'm called to a different area. And I needed to adjust my life to who I am and my own brilliance and my environment, not just what I grew up in. So I didn't throw Crocketville away. I'll never disown Crocketville, but I can't live according to Crocketville today. It's not the same. It's not the same. And while I'm saying that, let me just address for a minute, because I know in education we have this pressure from people who came before us. Well, we didn't complain. We just did what it took to take care of the students. Or we just, did out of our pockets and we just did da 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 da. I got it, right? You walked 6 miles in the snow. I got it. And I'm not making fun. I honor the people who came before us, but I also need you to understand that it's not the same. The education system that you're showing up to serve in today is not the same system that your mentors served in. It's not. Today we have 24-hour news cycles at the touch of our fingertips. You didn't have that back in the day. I remember growing up and the TV went off at midnight. Like somebody sang the Star Spangled Banner and it was over, like done. Right? You didn't get any more news until the next day. And even when you got news, it took days or weeks to get bad news. And now you get it the moment it's happening. And you get it not just from your city, not just from your state, but from the world. It's too much. Our brains were not created to process this amount of terror and this amount of information. So when you think to compare your journey to somebody who came before you, stop. It is not the same. It's not the same. Your mentor in education didn't have to do active shooter drills. Your mentor in education didn't have to wonder if the students in their classroom wanted to hurt them. And I'm not trying to stress you out. I need you to understand the reality in which you serve. Because of that, because of those circumstances, you have to disrupt cycles of burnout. You have to do these hard work strategies because there is no other way to do this work well without doing this work. So I'm glad you're here. So let me ask you again, what is your definition of work? Where did you learn it? And is it in alignment with who you are today? I would love to hear from you. Leave a comment, send me an email, reach out, let me know where you are in this journey because I know that it can be difficult to do alone, but you don't have to. You don't have to. We can support you through it. All right. Listen, I got to go. Don't forget to grab your free sample of my new upcoming book. Go to patricebutnerjackson.com/book and grab your free sample chapter there. I've read it to you so you can just let it play and wash over you as you hear it. And then every night in the month of July, I'm coming back to give you another spoonful of PBJ because I am believing this is going to be your best school opening yet. All right. I can't wait to hear from you, friend. I will see you